Oftentimes, we do not prepare for marriage before we get there. Like we wait for someone to come along, we fall in love with them, we get engaged, and then we're like, okay, let's start planning this wedding. And then sometimes we do marriage counseling, but we're not really thinking about all the things we could be doing today while we are single before we meet someone, or even if you are in a relationship, things you could be doing in your home and with yourself to prepare for marriage. And today on the You, Me, and Jesus podcast, we're going to talk about things you can do to prepare your life for marriage before it happens. Welcome back to another episode of the You, Me, and Jesus podcast. I am so excited to be here with you all on the audio and on our YouTube channel. So thanks for being here. And so this is the final episode in the series about preparing for marriage. And so I hope that you have enjoyed this. If you have enjoyed it, then please do me a favor, comment on the YouTube video and tell us that you're enjoying which one you enjoyed the most and ask any questions. So since this is our last one, we're talking about how to prepare your life as a single person for marriage. Because when you really think about it, so for me, I have 3 cats and the house is always hairy, right? Because I got curly hair, so hair is everywhere. And then I have cats, so hairs are always everywhere. Then not to mention that I'm a female who loves jewelry, clothing, makeup, hair stuff, and all the things. So my closets and everything is full of shoes. It's just all the things, you know what I mean? How I live my life is how I live my life. You know, when I come home from my office, I do certain things, whether I take my shoes off or my keys or my purse. There's just all these different things that I do that is just like, these are my habits of how I do things, okay? And I'm not saying that you have to change all your habits, but what I am saying is that what you could be doing is while you are waiting, you know, to be found or pursued or whatever, or to pursue someone, if you're a gentleman, you want to be looking at your life and asking yourself, in what ways could you really be preparing your life for somebody, right? So for example, this is something I did a little over a year ago. So I was on vacation in Mexico in San Miguel, and I, was buying keychains for myself and other people. And I saw this keychain and it was kind of rugged. And I was just like, I'm going to buy this for my husband. I'm not seeing anybody, and I wasn't seeing anybody then, but I bought this keychain and was like, I'm going to buy this for him. And the keychain is sitting there in my little place where I put my keys every day, and it's just there. Not that big of a deal. I think it cost me $2, $3, maybe $5, but that was just a little thing that I kind of did, for a future person. He may or may not like it, but that was just an intentional thing of, I'm thinking about him and I'm going to get him something. But that's like gifts, right? But also I think about like, what are some of the things that I'm doing on a regular basis in my house or in my life and all that, right? So when I was making this list of some of the things that you could do, it's the things that we can do, not just you, but that we can do to prepare our life for marriage. So I have this list of like 7 or 8 different things, and I'm going to kind of read them as we go. So the first thing that I wrote down here is that you want to work on increasing your income. Money is not everything. It is not. But guess what? In order to live somewhere, have a place to live, have water, food, clothing, electricity, Wi-Fi, a phone, gas in your car, car insurance, you need money. And money is like the cost of living constantly increases. It just does. And like right now in 2023, we're dealing with inflation and what the world is calling a recession. And so we're dealing with all these things. And it's really important for us to like be aware of what is happening in the times, right? A lot of times we go, well, when my person comes along, then we're going to build something together. And that's beautiful. But what if you actually are building whatever you're building by yourself? Right? Because you're currently by yourself. What if you're constantly, whether you are starting a business or you are going back to school or whatever, so that you have a better degree so you can increase your income, or you see an opportunity for a better job that's higher in salary, but pretty much the same level of responsibility that you currently have or whatever, what if you're actually actively allowing yourself to look at other opportunities? Does that make sense? Or you're talking to God and asking Jesus, like, what are some creative ways to increase my income? And then you actually act on the things that he gives you that you can do. Right? Because once you connect with your person, yes, you're going to combine your income is going to increase, but also your expenses can increase because he or she already has expenses and you already have expenses. Yes, you guys are going to live together, but you probably will need a bigger place. There's all these little things that happen as a result of when you combine with someone. Expenses, like your food bill is going to go up by like ×3, probably. Like if you're a female, you're marrying a man, it just is what it is, right? And then if you're a man, your income, your expenses are going to increase because she got her her hair, her nails, all this stuff. And then you got a whole thing that you do, sir. I know you do your thing, right? And so if you could work on increasing your income, that would be awesome. The second thing you want to do as you prepare your life for a spouse is lower your debts. So the money that you're making, like maybe instead of getting your nails done this month, that you paint your nails yourself and you take that and put it towards something else. And you do that for 6 months or a year or whatever. That way you can pay down a thing that's on your, it's in your debts. So for me, I literally have 2 things left on my debts. I have student loans and this other thing that I've been negotiating or trying to negotiate, paying it off from my debts or whatever. And so I've been working on this for years, like years of getting all of this stuff off of my credit report, because one, it's like when I meet him and we come together, his debts are my debts and my debts are his. And if I already have lower debts, then that's less of a thing that we have. Not saying that you have to have an 800 credit score or that you have to be debt free, but it's just, these are just little things that we can be doing while we're single to not bring certain things into the relationship. Because like once you get together, you're going to create debts together. Like unless you buy a home with cash, if you decide to purchase a home, there's going to be a debt for a home. You know, if you decide to have children, there's going to be expenses of all of that. You know what I mean? So I would strongly encourage you to start working on lowering your debts. Number 3, you want to work on your habits. We all have these habits. Here's one of my bad habits. My cats are able to be on my bed. They just are, and they can be there freely, and that's that, right? Another bad habit is that my cats are on the couch. They're on the couch with me. And so somebody else may say, they're already hairy now. I don't have anywhere to sit because the couch is hairy, right? That's a thing. Another big thing is like, you know, I will wash my hair, condition my hair, and then now it's time to like detangle, style, and all that with my hair. And you know, when you got product in your hair, stuff is flying, and you've got hair that's flying and all these different things when you're combing things out. But I get bored in the bathroom doing this, so I want to do this in front of the TV on the couch. Well, that's a bad habit, okay? Because now more hair is everywhere, whereas I can just be in the bathroom, take care of my hair, pick up all the hair off the floor, put it in the trash, and then go and watch TV. That's a bad habit that I have intentionally been working on. I have an island when I come into my apartment, and every day when I come home, I take my purse and I put it on the island. And I don't really think about it, but my purse sits on the floor all the time. Like my purse right now, I just picked it up. It's on the floor, right? And so when I come home, I take my purse and I sit it on the island. And so here it's just been on the ground the whole day, and now I'm putting it on the island. That's a bad habit that I personally am working on breaking, okay? And so we just have these little things that we do that could really annoy our person. I'm not saying something that like you got to change all your ways, but I'm like, if we just look at some of the things that we do and think about another person, they may be like, that's an ick, right? So that way, when you get with this person, you're not fighting about these little dumb things because you're not dealing with any of your like bad habits, okay? And I'm listen, there's so many things that you could have conflict about in marriage, but there's certain things you don't have to if you just work on them, okay? All right, number 4 is create space for someone. I'm not saying clean out a closet for somebody who doesn't exist. I am saying create space, especially in time in your schedule. Because sometimes we have our work, we have another job, we always do the same thing with our friends every single week. And it's like, this is what we do. And there's no space for anybody else. We may get with a person and now we're expecting to them to like, here is this free hour that you always have. And they're like, that's the hour that they get. That hour may not work for them, right? Or that you always do karaoke every Friday. Well, your person may not enjoy karaoke. And so it's really important for you to like, maybe just start making just a little bit of space, a little bit of wiggle room, because that person is their own person and you are your own person. And when you guys come together, you're going to both be your own people. And you're going to have to learn how to kind of come together in things. But if you start kind of like not having your schedule so rigid and this is how everything always is all the time, then you're allowing space for a person. That's like, you know, some people go like, I watch my show and I watch it this is clockwork, right? And you cannot miss. That's not really making space because you're like, you have to, it has to be this and this, or everything is like, you know, World War III or whatever. So then we've got number 5, and this one is create healthy hygiene habits. So I was in a singles class a couple years ago, and the gentleman that was teaching the class with his wife, he was saying that women, while you're single, start taking 2 showers a day. Start taking a shower in the morning and a shower in the evening. Now, some of you may be saying, well, I already do that. That's great. But a lot of us, we're like, I just take a shower in the morning. It's fine. Like I went to the gym in the morning, took a shower. It's fine. I went through the day, got in my bed or whatever. But some of you guys are like, there's no way I would ever get in my bed without taking a shower. That's great if that's you. But a lot of us, that hasn't been our norm, right? And so it doesn't make us dirty. It just means that has just not been the norm for everyone. And so taking a shower in the evenings, is good, especially when you're married, because typically you're going to be, having sex with your spouse, not like at nighttime. Like you can have sex at any time, but a lot of times it's going to be at nighttime. And then your partner is going to want you being as clean as possible, especially if you're someone who likes to, how do I say this on a Jesus podcast? You don't just like the intercourse. You like all the things, like you like them being in all the places. Well, your person is going to want to be in all the places when it's clean. And so if you are creating this habit of cleaning yourself in the morning and in the evening, then that's not this huge thing that you've got to change because you're working on it, as a single person. Not to mention brushing your teeth in the morning and in the evening, flossing, washing your hair, just doing these little things, that like to some people are like, this is normal. This is what I'm supposed to do, but it may not be normal to everybody. Listen, I'll tell you this. I grew up in a household where no one ever encouraged us to take showers. I grew up in a household where we didn't have deodorant for like forever, right? Where we had to like be creative when finding ways to listen. So we grew up in a household where this was not the norm to like shower in general or brush our teeth. I mean, it sounds crazy, but I'm just saying we had a lot of mental illness in our family, right? And so, it is what it is. And so I had to reparent myself and learn to do these different things that all of my friends were doing that didn't make any sense to me. And I had to go like, oh, I didn't tell them that, but I started watching these habits that they were doing. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm just saying that it's important for you to like start doing some of these things. There's a girl on YouTube, I'm always watching her healthy hygiene habits. And some of it, I'm like, really? Like it's good stuff, but I just had never heard of somebody doing some of the stuff that she does. And I'm like, oh, well, that's really darn cool, and learning these things from other people. So don't be ashamed if you're one of those people and you're like, you have to learn these habits over with. I'm one of those people too, that it was when I got to college that I started to realize, oh, there were things that I never learned in my house that is normal for everybody else. Okay, next one, and it's the last two, is learn how to cook. Okay, you want to learn how to cook. And this goes for the men and the women, because I know that the roles of what people think it's supposed to be is that the woman, she cooks, she cleans, she washes the clothes, whatever. But I think we also have to just be mindful that if you're single, you're running your whole household and you're running your life. You're like, you got a job, you have a business. So you're not just at home all day long. You are doing all the things, right? And it's hard enough for a single woman to do all that, come home, wash her own clothes, clean her own things, and then to do all that, come home, wash her own things and his, cook and do grocery shop and do. It's really, really challenging, and to be emotionally available and to be ready for intimacy if he is just going to work and coming home to all these things. That is really, really, really challenging. And everybody won't say that out loud, but that is really, really, really challenging on a person. And so it's really important that, as it pertains to men and women, that you learn how to cook, right? Because I love cooking, but I also love it watching a man cooking for me and him cooking. I love cooking with a man, right? I don't know what it's going to be like when we come together, because I do run a business, right? And my business is constantly growing. And so I can't say that I'm going to be one of those women who are working and cooking and cleaning, grocery shopping and doing all the things. I cannot say that I'm going to be that in my marriage. But what I can say is, here's how my life has been. And I know that if he's single, he's been taking care of himself. He's been working, he's been cleaning, he's been cooking, he's been doing himself. So it's like, I feel like that there's like things we can do together, right? And if we come to the agreement that, Keenya, you're the one who always cooks and I always do the dishes, that may be great. But I will say that everybody loves it when someone else cooks for them. I don't care who you are. You can literally learn how to cook from Pinterest, from foodnetwork.com. Like the way that I learned how to cook was 100% foodnetwork.com. Like I had no idea how to cook. And I used to just download recipes from foodnetwork.com and I would cook it. And that is how I learned to cook. Last thing is you want to get used to cleaning on a regular basis because listen, like it's a thing. Like you are used to your habits at home and then your person is used to their habits, and together those habits can be awful, right? If you're used to always having dishes in the sink and this person is always used to having like no dishes in the sink, that's going to be a huge problem when they're like, this is what it's going to be a huge problem, right? So I developed this habit going to bed with there's nothing in the sink. So I may wash the thing out and put it in the dishwasher, but that is my newest habit over the last year or two of going to sleep with nothing in the sink. It's going to be something that I'll talk to a future spouse about, it being like, okay, it's going to be really good if both of us have an agreement of like, let's just, even if we don't run the dishwasher, that we at least know dishes in the sink or whatever. You see what I mean? But not only that, of having a habit of like when you guys clean the house, when you clean the toilets, when you wash the clothes, of like having your own regular habits of that. Because, let's just say this person doesn't clean very often, but you clean all the time. Once you guys begin to talk about these things before you move in together of marriage, then you're going to give, both of you guys are going to give each other an opportunity to go like, oh, okay, well, let's compromise on what this looks like. Is this we're cleaning every day, cleaning every week? What does this look like? I heard somebody who said that they clean their tub every day. And the person was like, well, I clean my tub every week, right? And so it's like, that's a big stretch from 7 days a week to 1 day a week. And then having a conversation of like, well, what does this look like for us? And like, how can we compromise to get this there? Right. Okay. Listen, I'm not saying you have to do all these things at once, but these things are really going to help you to set yourself up for a partner. I'm working on them too. I'm not perfect at it. I'm working on them too, because I'm like, marriage is already going to be challenging because you got two people from two totally different worlds trying to create one world together. But there are certain things that I could be working on myself just in my daily life that I don't have to wait until I have someone. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this episode and enjoyed this series, and make sure you let me know what you enjoyed about this series so that like when we have the next one, I can give you what you need. Thanks for watching and listening.